Here, you know what my new slogan is? You like that guy Gavin Newsom? All you people voted for him. Stay home. Hey, how about little Billy de Blasio? Oh, not Bill de Blasio. You mean the former mayor of New York, whose real fucking name is Warren Wilhelm Jr.? But I changed it to get the Italian vote. And he locks down everywhere. Little Andy Cuomo, the daddy's boy. Witless fucking Whitmere, little DeWine over there in Ohio. Hey, all you people in East Palestine and the whole area that have been poisoned to death. Don't you love that little fucking arrogant prick that shut everything down? Here's my slogan for the 2024 presidential election.
Wait for it.
Or any election in any country near you.
It's a good slogan.
Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? Stay home? Fuck off. Get the jab? Shove it up your ass. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? These people destroyed our economy. They artificially popped it up with cheap money so the bigs could get bigger with their zero interest rate policy and dumping trillions of dollars into the economy.
If you guys didn't know who this man was before, now, hold on a second. Admittedly, I only discovered him about 17 minutes before posting that clip. I just want to get his Twitter handle again. Gerald Celente. I only discovered him 17 minutes before posting that clip, which was the exact amount of time it took me to watch that video that he put on YouTube. I was referred to Gerald by my financial advisor and friend back in Montreal. That's going to drive me crazy. Who said, Viva, to answer your question as to the lamentable state of the economy and some stocks that you may have decided to purchase on your own, such as Credit Suisse, Tabarnak. He sent me that clip and I watched it. I've never heard of Gerald Celente, but I'm subscribed now. I hope I'm subscribed. Anyways, I'm following him now for sure on Twitter. He reminds me of my father without a filter. My father, I've never seen my dad horrendously drunk. I don't think my dad could be drunk enough to lose the filter that much. But my dad espouses similar beliefs. Let me paraphrase it more politely. Dear government, who on earth do you think you are to tell me what to do? You, as an entity, as a historical entity, have been guilty of the most egregious atrocities known to man. Human experimentation, testing on your own citizens, violent conflict, mass casualties, arguably crimes of wars, but not so arguably crimes of war and foreign. Who the heck are you to tell me what to do when everything you have ever touched, with some exceptions, has turned to absolute crap? You can't do your own job properly, and now you want to govern my life? Who the heck are you? Oh, man. And now we're seeing what's going on here with the banks and Credit Suisse, which I purchased at $3.07 a share. Not very much, but, how much lower can it go? Oh, we're finding out now. The government, people don't understand this. So this is one of my arguments as to why people have this idiotic trust in the government more so than private enterprise. And as far as I'm concerned, both require distrust. Both require, I won't even say trust but verify. It's don't trust them with anything more than you can afford them losing for you. But people trust the government because why would the government be bad? But private enterprise, well, they're corrupt. Private enterprise will cut corners and do whatever it takes to make a profit. What do you think government does? They will do whatever it takes to retain and enhance their power. And if you think that there are more corrupt, dishonest, disingenuous, deceitful people in private enterprise, why would you think there would be any fewer of them proportionately in government? You think just Mother Teresa's join the government because they have such a deep yearning to help society? I would argue that more people would join private enterprise if they actually wanted to help society, because at least private enterprise tends to get things done. In a more cost-effective manner because they are held to the bottom line of profits, not squandering endless monies that they can just go dip into your back pocket to take. But people trust the government. Well, they have to be good. I mean, that's their purpose, right? It's to help the people. Oh, there wouldn't be corrupt, dishonest psychopaths in government. There would be fewer of them in government than there would be in private enterprise, right? No. And then they come in, like Gerald astutely pointed out, and locked you down while they shipped off COVID positive elderly people to long-term healthcare facilities, old people homes. They locked you down and they shut your business down while they gave themselves raises throughout the pandemic. Jagmeet Singh, I'm looking at you and the Canadian government. 4 pay raises since the onset of COVID. They lock you down, screw up your life, so they can create problems that they can then screw up in trying to solve, so they can then give themselves more power because they screwed up trying to solve the problem that they caused in the first place. Gerald Celente. I love it. I mean, I actually did love it, but there's a reason why I loved it. There's a reason why it resonates with people. Because he's saying what anyone with half a brain already understands now. Who the heck are you people in government to tell me what to do at the micromanaging level of my life and my existence? I know who you are that you want to tell me what to do. You want to take over my friends, my family. You want to take over my father and my mother. You want to be the cornerstone of my life. You want to replace God himself. Yes, I gendered God. Government wants to replace God himself. And I don't trust government any more than I trust private enterprise to do that. Am I saying that chasing profits makes better products? Yeah, I'll say that to some extent. In that if you make a shitty product, no one's going to buy it. So you can cut corners to maximize profits short term, but if you make a shitty product, you're not going to maximize profits long term. So go ahead and make a crappy drone that falls out of the sky, and it's not going to build brand. That being said, where's my GoPro? Make an amazing camera that might happen to cost a little more than cutting corners, and you will increase quality. Nobody buys crappy products for very long. And if you do buy them, like my grandmother said, you buy them twice, your first and your last time. Now, is that to say that they don't cut corners in manners that might not affect the bottom line until they're discovered? I don't know, like, for example, not recalling shitty tires that blow up on the road? Maybe. And then you do the Fight Club calculation, and then you figure out what would you trust governments, private enterprise with to regulate on their own based on their bottom line interest? And what do you need government potentially to come in and regulate? Because, yes, it is true that private enterprise would conceal problems if it meant not exposing them to further damage. But when it comes to manufacturing a product, you don't make profits by producing shitty product. And it works in private enterprise. It works on the internet. It works in school. It ought to work in life, except for the fact that we seem to be no longer living through a meritocracy. I'm not yet sure that we're living through an idiocracy, but we're certainly living through what is no longer a meritocracy in its truest and most effective form. Let me see this here. Where were you educated, Viva? I was educated by my great uncles and aunties who saw World War II from southern Italy. They warned us about those regulate the rules, never play their game. Leo Scalzi, I was educated. Should I go through all the schools? I went to 1 elementary school, 3 high schools in 5 years, Dawson Cégep, McGill undergrad philosophy honors degree with a minor in history, Université Laval law degree, interned at Borden Ladner Gervais, where I worked from 2005 as a student to 2010 as a lawyer. And then life experience. And my grandfather, born in Poland, fled multiple times, returned last in 1936 to try to get family and I think a loved one out of Poland. Then he emigrated to Argentina, if my memory is correct. Then when he went back to Poland to try to save more family, ended up in Canada. Grandmother was her family was born in Ukraine. And the rest on my other side, I think, Romanian, all Eastern European. And I'm still not used to saying we've got a good show today because I still don't view this as a show. This is just Viva's slow descent into reality. It's not a descent into madness. It's a descent into reality, trying to make sense of the madness that has become our reality. We got a good subject matter for the day. We're going to talk about Drew Barrymore literally kneeling at the feet of the patriarchy. I'm going to do that on Rumble, not because of the subject matter. I'm not scared of the subject matter. I'm going to post it to YouTube tomorrow, but I'm actually afraid of copyright abuse on YouTube, because there are copyright trolls on YouTube. YouTube has chosen to turn a blind eye to that problem, and copyright abuse is actually more effective censorship than censorship itself. You commentate on a newsworthy item, transformative, educational, absolute fair use by definition, you'll still get a copy troll who will claim an entire stream because of an incidental use or overt copyright troll abuse. When I was doing the Ottawa protest on YouTube, somebody would claim 7 hours of a live stream that had 500,000 views because at one point, background music was playing as I walked through the protest. So we're going to talk about Drew Barrymore, Dylan Mulvaney on Rumble. Charlie Kirk, for those of you who don't know, as far as I'm concerned, in my humble opinion, has one hell of a defamation claim against the Sacramento Bee and the journalist who drafted an article that didn't even say what the Sacramento Bee said it said, but then retweeted a tweet from the Sacramento Bee, which referred to Charlie Kirk as having said he wanted to lynch trans people. And then the ensuing violence that occurred at UFC, I don't exactly know where it is. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Douglass Mackey, because it's the case you all watching know about it, because it's the case of all cases that everyone should know about. The twists and the turns and the prosecutorial, or there's something running afoul in this case. We're going to go over the case, the indictment. We already talked about it before, but good to refresh everybody's memory. And the latest, the Sacramento Bee. I thought the Sacramento Bee was parody because of the Babylon Bee. We're going to talk about that and some other stuff. But first, because some of you may not have gone to the after stream party on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Check this out. If you could feel how heavy this is, I did an unboxing on Locals after yesterday's stream. It's solid, I don't know what they call it, carved steel with a silicone, something of an insert in there, but my trophy, my statue, it's idolatry, people. I understand that, in as much as when I got my silver play button, it's idolatry, but we can be children sometimes. And at least, oh no, and a piece of dust in there that's not going to polish the idol. Rumble sent their equivalent but far superior version of the subscriber number recognition trophy. This weighs at least 2 pounds, maybe 4, and it's beautiful. Came yesterday. Rumble, thank you, and above all else, thank everybody who has subscribed. I don't know, the followers, subscribers, everyone who's a part of this community, both on YouTube and on Rumble and in Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Thank you all for being here. I used the box as the mantle. It's very ingenious. And by I mean my wife helped me. Don't fall. And actually, just before we get started, because you may have noticed, there was a little thing that said, this video contains a paid promotion, because it does. And it's one that I like. It's the easy one, as Joe Rogan. This is easy for me because I actually use it. It's sitting right here next to my desk. I'll show you afterwards. Field of Greens, desiccated vegetables. It's not a supplement. It's not an extract. It is an easy way to get as much of the nutrients of fruits and vegetables as you can get, short of eating 5 to 6 servings of raw fruits and vegetables a day, which most people are supposed to do. No, sorry, which everybody's pretty much supposed to do, allergies aside, and most people do not do. For example, when I was in Vegas for our meet and greet, the vivabarneslaw.locals.com meet and greet, sweet, merciful goodness, is it tough to get vegetables. When I was in Texas covering the Alex Jones trial, it was tough to get vegetables. If you don't have a place that has a kitchen and you go to a grocery store, good luck getting good vegetables and fruits at fast food joints or at burger joints. I had a burger at Gordon Ramsay. Very few vegetables. And even if you get the vegetables, they're not typically healthy. 1 spoonful desiccated fruits and vegetables will get you 1 serving of fruits and vegetables. 1 spoonful is 1 serving, twice a day. It's the great alternative, as good of the alternative to the actual thing itself. Let me get this idea. Fieldofgreens.com, promo code VIVA gets you 15% off your first order, 10% off the subscription. It is, can you see this? Full of fruits and vegetables, antioxidants, boosted immunity, antioxidant power, and USDA approved because it's a food. It's not an extract. It's not a supplement. I spent a half an hour on the phone with the doctor behind this to make sure that I was comfortable with what goes in there, what goes into my body. I am. It's good. Fieldofgreens.com. Promo code VIVA. Link is in the pinned comment. Now, does it have vitamin D? I'm going to look. Whether or not it does, I take vitamin D, vitamin C supplements anyhow as no. Oh, sorry. Thank you. No medical advice, no legal advice, no election fortification advice. And one last thing just to start the day. I saw this here. Super chats. YouTube takes 30% of all super chats. If you don't like that mathematical equation, you can go watch us on Rumble, where we are simultaneously streaming. Up to 331,000 followers on Rumble. And Rumble has their own version of super chats called Rumble Rants, where they take 20% instead of 30, so you can feel better supporting a company that actually supports free speech, and it's better for the creator. But let me just show you what they have. Rumble Rants like this one right here, which I just noticed come in. Lord of the Ree, I think that's a Salty Cracker reference, says, have you heard any rumblings, pun intended, about any free speech alternative to music sites like Bandcamp and Spotify? No, I never even heard of Bandcamp until 5 Times August and Tim Pool got yeeted from it. So yeah, I don't really listen to music anyhow. And you know what I think we're going to do? I think we're just going to end this on YouTube right now and move on over to Rumble, because we're moving on up. Let's go to Rumble right now so that I don't have to cut into this at an inopportune time, and we can get into the news. No, we'll do one thing here. We'll do one thing today. One thing here on YouTube. We're going to define woke, people. Oh, sorry, I brushed my hair yesterday, so it doesn't have its curls. It's just mad straight. There's a running thing going around where you ask someone to define woke and they can't do it. And there's a clip that, even by the author's own admission, is probably going to go viral because someone's giving an interview, and I don't know where and I don't know when, but and they are asked to define woke, and they respond like this. And look, one should have a very reflexive answer already prepared, and be prepared for what are the typical retorts to when one is asked to define woke. And it goes one of 3 ways. You either can't define it, in which case you get laughed at, and maybe rightly so. It's not good using words that you don't know what they mean, or you don't know how you're using them when you use them. Or you'll provide a slew of examples. Woke is thinking boys can be girls just by thinking it. Woke is thinking that I don't know, how pronouns should be mandatory. Woke is thinking that censorship is, and then you'll give a bunch of examples, and they say, well, those are examples. That's not a definition. And they're not wrong, but at some point, definitions come down to examples from which people extrapolate broader rules. But it's good to be able to formulate the rule. And I think I've done it. But then I've done it and then fallen victim, or they come with the other attack. Oh, that's a good definition, but it's not the actual definition of woke. Well, I'm sorry. I thought you told me that woke doesn't exist. And then when I give you a definition, you tell me it doesn't actually satisfy the original definition of woke, because there is no original definition. So there is a way to retort to that. But let's start with this, because it's, I feel a little bit bad for Bethany Mandel. I understand what went on, but you listen first, and then we're going to talk about it after.
Americans consider themselves very liberal, and probably fewer of them consider themselves to be woke. And so, when we talk about traditional,
what does that mean to you? Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Fair question.
So, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. Woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. Sorry, it's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Yeah, look, your time.
of Americans consider themselves very.
Here's what just happened there. First of all, she got a pretty concise definition in about here.
It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression.
Reorganize, reduce, redo society to create hierarchies of oppression. That's also Marxism to some extent, or at least, to create the oppressed and the oppressor for the purposes of, war of the classes. So she got something of a definition in there. Where I feel very bad for her is this massive, extended brain fart that lasts a good.
Defining woke, because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Good 1, 2, 3.
I mean, woke is sort of the idea that
11, 12, 13, 14.
This is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean,
so you know what's happening in her mind, and it's, by the way, why panic is never a good is never the good response. She's panicking. She's having a brain fart. For anybody who's been on air for any extended period of time, myself included, occasionally it happens. You just don't know what you're thinking anymore. Or you just start saying something and you're like, holy shit, what am I saying right now? The words are coming out of my mouth. It's kind of like the Miss America. The words are coming out of my mouth and I don't know what they mean anymore. I could see panic in her eyes, but she got the definition in there. And then the other difficulty is, imagine trying to reduce a chapter of her book, apparently, to a definition for a 15-second soundbite. She did it. Reorganizing, restructuring society for the purposes of creating hierarchies of oppression. It's a decent explanation. Woke is whatever you want it to be. No, it's not. The most standard rebuttal after that is to say, no, that's not the definition of woke. The same people saying woke doesn't exist, woke is just a manufactured term that nobody understands, then tell you when you give the proper definition, or at least your definition as to how you're using it, that's not the definition of woke. Here's my definition of woke, and I dare say, I do like it. I made it a quote with make it a quote, and this is it. I thought long and hard about it. What are the underlying themes connecting the examples of boys can be girls, and if you don't acknowledge that, you're a bigot. If you don't call someone by their preferred pronouns, you're intolerant. Structural, what do they call it? Institutionalized racism. If you don't believe in that, what is the underlying theme of all of these examples or manifestations of woke ideology? I believe it's this. It is the ideology of insincere fabrication of victims and victimhood through manufactured oppression, discrimination, for the ultimate purpose of acquiring power through such victimhood and attaining undeserved social standing through faux outrage and virtue signaling. Boom, Viva. And I thought about all the words very, very carefully. Actual victims and actual victimhood is not woke. That's called justice. If you're actually trying to right a real wrong, not an insincerely held belief in a victim, if it's actual, sincere, and real, or even if it's sincere but maybe not real, that wouldn't be woke. That would just be one sense of justice. Woke, as I understand it, and as I understand most people use it, when using it as the insult or the critique that you're just being woke, it's feigned, it's insincere belief in victimhood. Like anyone's going to look at a trans athlete, not a trans person, but a trans, and we're going to say male to female athlete, and then say, pretend to be sincere, they should be allowed to compete in women's sports, biological women's sports. And if you don't believe that, you're a bigot, and use that. That's woke, because that is, and I don't care if they say it's sincere, that is insincere manufactured victimhood. That a biological male, born a biological male with all of the physical attributes and advantages that being born a biological male procures to the biological male who's born a biological male, who then wants to compete in biological female sports, there is no actual victimhood there, except arguably, and not so arguably, for the actual biological females who are now being forced to compete with biological males who have had all the advantages of biological malehood. So that's insincere. Manufactured oppression, discrimination. There is a difference between saying trans people should not be discriminated against versus saying biological females should be discriminated against. Discrimination is a problem where the object of the discrimination has no logical correlation to the act of discrimination. So not letting a blind person drive a bus is, I guess, technically discrimination. You're going to say blind people can't drive buses. Yeah, it's a shame. If you're born blind or you have a visual impairment, if your dream were to become a school bus driver or a Greyhound, you can't. That's discrimination. There's a very logical correlation between that act of discrimination and the discrimination itself. If you're blind, you can't drive a bus. If you're born a biological male with the bone structure, length, average height, muscle mass, testosterone, etc., you can't compete in women's sports. That would be discrimination that is wholly logical, justified, and biologically sound. Saying that a trans person can't go into a bar, however, would be illegitimate, illogical, and unjustified discrimination. So it's manufactured oppression and discrimination, and the ultimate purpose of it, it's to acquire power or to acquire social standing through nothing more than finding fake problems to resolve by tearing down the existing power so that you can grab it for yourself. That is what I think wokeness is. And gosh darn it, do I think it's a darn good definition. And then someone says, that's not what woke means. You have to go back to the Marxist. That's how people are using the term woke now when they're using it to discredit ideologies and philosophies that are woke. Okay. What does everyone say here? Let me see. I'm just going to go to the chat and see if anyone has any radical disagreements with me. Nietzsche warned us about what is happening today. All right, let's go over to Rumble, everybody. Let us take the party over to Rumble. Okay, let's do it. Am I schwitzing here? It's a good thing I put on my black Viva Fry shirt so that nobody can see the sweat that is coming off. And by the way, just before we go, what does everyone think of the layout now? I've rotated the office multiple times. At first, everyone might remember it started this way with my fossil mantle behind me. Then I rotated 180 and had it on the other side of the room. Then I rotated 90 and had it with this black wall behind me, but I found I was having lighting issues. Now I think it creates depth. It already uses the stands that are on the wall. It allows me to show some wonderful art. Ziggy Shrugs, Creations by Ziggy. This is from, I'd have to forget the name now. Darn it. I posted the link on Twitter, and that came yesterday. So I think I like it. Yuck. Looks good, man. Good. Okay. All right. Now let's do it. Over to Rumble. People, ending on YouTube. Fieldofgreens.com, promo code VIVA. Thank you very much. No, I don't want to open another window. Close this down. I want to end on YouTube. Going to Rumble now.